Hey guys, how are you? Okay, so I'm over here on the group and I'm here on the page. I'm on my big computer. I should like take a camera and like show you guys each other. But I'm trying to figure out, guys, over on the group how I see when you guys comment, right? So let me pull up over here because we're going to play with this and then we're going to get into reading, okay? So I'm going to pull this up here and see what it tells me in regards to what I can see you guys saying. Okay, hang on guys, hang on. Because I can't see you guys post anything and I'm guessing you guys have said something, right? So let's see. Hi guys, how are you? All right, so hopefully I don't hear anything. Okay, I see me, but I don't see anybody on there. So if you're on the page, go ahead and say hi. Tell me who you are, where you're from. I'll let everybody hop on. I don't know what's up, guys. I'll figure it out, okay? I'm gonna figure it out. So if you have comments, you're going to have to hop over to the page. But I don't know. Let me see if I can figure it out really quick so I'm not wasting everybody's time. Because it's Friday night, right? We all have stuff to do. We don't want to hear about reading all the time on a Friday night. Okay, so I see people hopping on the group. All right. Okay, I see Kristen. You said hi, but I can't see it over there. Here, let me see. Does it say share to groups? No. I don't know. I see you, Kristen, over here on the group, but like I see you over here on the page on my Facebook. You know what I mean? So like it's weird. I got to figure it out. So if you guys say anything, I'm sorry. I cannot, unless I start it over. I'm guessing I'm not going to be able to see. I'm not sure. That kind of stinks. I don't like this. All right, hold on. Hi, Sky.
Sorry for being upset here. I'm sorry. What talking about?
Oh, you are? Okay, wait. I see comments right here. Hold on. All right. Ah, I found it! Okay, so I feel like such a dork. Okay, so I see it. I see it. I'm like excited now. I'm like really excited because I can see it. All right, so I can see your comments. Okay? I can't see myself anymore. I can see the comments. So, okay, cool. So you guys are over there. So you guys are over here. And so this is what I want to tell you. My name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks, the IEP, and I help parents. So I'm going to like stand in the middle. Can I stand in the middle? Okay. Am I in the middle? Okay. So I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. All right. So I got you guys here on the page or the group. And then I got the page. Look, I'm going to get so confused. Here, let me show you guys real quick. All right, so the people on the page, I'm going to show you really quick. Like, okay, hopefully, can you see over? Don't look at my messy office, but you see the computer, so you see I'm on the group. All right, okay, so I'm going to put you guys back for a second. All right, do not even make fun of my messy office right now, okay? All right, so now I'm going to show you guys, all right? So, do you see the computer? So that's where I am live as far as the page. So now you guys know, okay? All right, am I good? Okay. Okay, you guys good? All right, I think I got it. All right, so if I move this way, okay, I gotta move it over. Look, this whole technical stuff is weird. I don't like it. All right, so I'm good, right? All right, so for everybody, here, let me turn this a little bit. Okay, so for everybody here, my name is Raven Woods. I'm the CEO and founder of Autism Mama Rocks IEP, and I help parents gain the knowledge and the confidence to become the CEO of their IEP meeting. Now that we're finished like playing around with the computers, you guys have probably seen how messy my office is. All right, so like clients' stuff just goes everywhere. Like I have files, but look at this. Like, this is just a little bit of it. Like, it's heavy stuff. All right, can you guys see it? Okay. That's just a little bit Okay. So I just got out of an IEP meeting. It was super fun. Yeah, it actually was fun. And it went really well. And reading was one of our hot topics. So I have not gone live that much this week. So I apologize. But I am excited about today. Okay. And I'm excited to talk to you about reading. All right. It's one of my favorite subjects, that and behavior. And I think we're going to really have a good conversation today. All right. So if you want to share this, if you're here on the page, go ahead and share it. Okay. If you're on the group, you can share it as well. And make sure you post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. Do not say hi. I know it's a Friday, so I'm not sure. I've never really gone live a lot Friday evenings. So we'll see who shows up, but I know tons of people watch the replay. Look at my hair, it's all crazy. All right. So I want to read something to you that I had written down that I think is really cool in regards to reading. So it's a did you know? All right. So did you know that having students repeat and say phonemes, all right, and morphemes out loud stimulates their brain and the phonological processors within their brain. All right. So the phonological processor, all right, is one of the parts of the brain that is required for reading. All right. Pretty cool, right? So again, if you're hopping on the page, post a 1 below. It's your first through third time catching me live. If you're hopping on the group, post a 1 below. If it's your first through third time catching me live, I know recently I've added a lot of people to the group. So if you guys here on the page are not part of the group is awesome. All right. So we're going to finish our conversation in regards to red flag, green flag. Do you remember that conversation, guys? All right. So the conversation was, all right, green flag is what the science of reading is about, that it's in line with the science of reading. The science of reading is based off years and years and years of research and is backed up by science. And it is the type of reading and the way in which to teach reading that is successful. All right. So let's talk about my IEP today. This is just a good example of how reading, if not done properly, doesn't work. This is just one example of so many that I come in contact with when it comes to reading. All right. Kids are not progressing. Hi, Del Rose. How are you? Hey, Kristen. Hey, Erin. How are you? So, hi, Paula. Hi, Tamara. Okay. So one of the key things, and this is what I said to them today, is so many schools and teachers and everybody, honestly, think that so many different scientifically based reading programs are good, and they're not. And they definitely don't follow the science of reading. So they have science to them. Anything can have science to it. Okay, so let me explain that. So if you put something together, all right, and you have somebody who wants to do scientific research on it, and then it can be said to be backed by science, all right? But that doesn't mean that science is backed with success, all right? So when you're talking about over 100 years of success, all right, when you're talking about the science of reading versus the program that I fought today, which is just a disgusting program, and it comes and like hits home because it's what Skylar did not do well with and is why she's at Linda Mood Bell. And that is Fontes and Pinnell, and the measurement in which the schools will measure your child, which is called DRA. It sucks. All right. They'll say, oh, I said, oh, what grade level is she on? They said an N. Oh, you don't have a number? Like, first grade, second grade, third grade? No, it's an N, all right, which is like the beginning of third grade. All right. So that program, Fontes and Pinnell, is horrible, and it does not work. All right. Kids will be on it and 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 on it for years. And most of them, I can never say always and I can never say never, but most of them do not learn and most of them do not progress. All right. So, in my argument today, which was actually a really easy one, which was crazy. And I said, because there was a reading specialist there and then there was a teacher, and I laid into the teacher. And what's funny is Mom was like, be easy on the teacher because, I really like her, blah, 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 blah. Well, when a parent says that, this guy's getting ready to throw a fit. So if you hear she's throwing her fit, she comes home, she has a 5-minute meltdown because she's been sitting in the car from Northern Virginia to home because she is at Linda Mood Bell. So she's in her room and she throws her 5-minute fit and then she'll be good to go. So 5 minutes. And you have to ignore her and you can't give it attention because it will escalate. Anybody else in that situation? She actually even came and shut my door because she knew she was going to have a meltdown. Bless her heart. Okay. So I laid into this teacher. Mom liked the teacher. Mom was like, oh, she talks to me. I think she really cares, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't know if she cares or not. I don't get into that mess. All right. I'm there to advocate for the child. That's all I care about. Okay. So, hey, Sky, Mom's live and you're throwing a fit. Here. All right. So let's ignore her for a second. And so, I said to the teacher, I was like, I don't understand why you are Sky. Hang on one second. David? All right, sent her down with Dad. Okay, so now she's really throwing fit. All right, so welcome to my world when Skylar gets home. All right, so what I was saying is that when I talked to the teacher, I said to the teacher, I said, I don't understand what you're doing with this child in school because she only has one reading goal. And in looking at 2019-20 versus 2020-21, she went from 3 goals that she did not master to 1 goal in 2020-21. That didn't make sense to me. So I said, can you explain this to me? She said, well, I didn't make those goals. Okay. Well, if you didn't make those goals, which the teacher before made them, she's now in your class, right? And so now that she's in your class, do you not feel it's your responsibility to now look at the goals? So I asked her, I said, do you look at the IEP before your kids start? Do you look at the IEP, before the kids come into school? And she said, yeah. And she, tried to blow me off and, act like I was, downgrading her. And I really wasn't, but I was trying to figure out, had she read the IEP? And had she read the IEP, she would have seen that it went from 3 goals to 1 goal. And the child's deficit is reading, math, and writing. Go figure, right? So I said, I don't understand. Like, what happened that you didn't make a change between 3 goals and 1 goal, knowing that this child is struggling in reading? And she said, well, that's because, we're working on things outside of the IEP. We're not just working on things in the IEP. I said, well, when a student has an IEP, your job is to follow the IEP. And if the goals or anything else for that matter are not appropriate, then it's your job to come back to the table and address that and put goals and whatever else it is in place so that... Sticky fingers and ears. I know, oh my gosh. It drives me crazy when she screams and yells because it's like, ugh. I just want to tell her to be quiet. But if you do, then geez, that escalates her. But, she could not answer why she had not taken the parent back to the table for an IEP meeting and say, hey, your child only has 1 goal and her biggest area of need is reading and writing. And then math. And she couldn't answer that. She just kept referring back to the fact that she did not make that goal. And she kept referring back to that she works on things outside the IEP. So I then said, she didn't meet her goals last year. So what's going on this year? Well, then here was the kicker. The one goal that this child had, she said that the child mastered. So now we have a child that's struggling in reading, that's almost, come next year, will be 4 years behind. And the teacher says that the one goal she has, she's mastered. And what are they working on? The child has reading 2-3 times a week. And then in class, the class is actually kind of cool, in my opinion. It's like half special ed students, half gen ed students, and it's co-taught with a special ed teacher and teacher, which that's a great thing. But what is she teaching her if she doesn't have any reading goals? So now you have a child who has reading needs and reading deficits. That's the biggest area of need. And then you have a teacher that says she mastered the one goal she has, and then she's working on what? So I said to her, I said, well, what are you working on? Well, I told you, we're working on things outside of the IEP. So I said, it never dawned on you to go back to the table and create more goals with the parent? Silence. And then the reading specialist came and got on board. And she said, well, I take her and I work on a lot of things with her as well. And I said, well, what do you work on? She didn't have any goals anymore. And she said, well, I'm doing Wilson. Okay. I chalked that up because it's a great program. All right. It's somewhat in line with Orton Gillingham, which I'm certified in, and structured literacy, which is great. But as long as it's in line with the science of reading, which it is, but a lot of people who teach structured literacy, okay, and like Orton Gillingham, Wilson-based instruction, do the things a lot where this green light, red light says they have to halt. Teachers need to halt and take a step back. And they need to really focus in on the student, and not the student memorizing, but the student actually doing. So that takes a lot of conversation. That takes a lot of showing the child and showing them what it is that you want them to do. So if you want them to read a word, then you do that first, and then you have the child do that. All right. You have to be an example for them, and you have to show them how to do it. All right. If you're showing a child how to unload a dishwasher, then what happens? They unload the dishwasher. And then what happens after that? They practice and they screw up, and they practice and they screw up, and then they figure out how to unload the dishwasher, right? So, when a child learns how to unload the dishwasher, then they have become proficient in that area. All right. Well, when a teacher is teaching something, the best teachers actually show their students, instead of writing it on a board or giving them a piece of paper to take a test, the best teachers are the ones that show them what to do and then have them do it. All right. And then show them again. All right. Not, if they do it wrong, not say, nope, not right. And then they do it. And no, not right. Because then who wants to do it again if you're always saying, nope, you didn't do it right that time. Nope, you didn't do it right that time. You got to have that positive reinforcement so that the child wants to do it again for you. When I taught my kids, I didn't teach them their colors with a freaking crayon. I didn't teach them their colors with looking at a piece of paper. We went and we would look at cars. I'd say, hey, what's that color? Or I'd say, hey, what's that color? So not only did they learn the regular generic colors, but they learned other colors outside of that. So they learned, about turquoise, and they learned about all these other different colors that isn't always in like a crayon or the way in which some people teach. Okay. And, it's fun to teach that way. So I'm just saying that as an example, because what did that do? It took them outside. It gave them fresh air. They were able to point at the cars. They were able to see different, colors that were outside, fun, and something that they could enjoy on top of learning. All right. When you sit at a desk, I could never do that. If you sit at a desk and you're like told to do this, that, and the other, that's boring. you know? And nowadays, a lot of teachers have to teach to pass the freaking statewide tests instead of actually teaching to have fun and to learn. So a lot of teachers are under what's called pressure to have the kids practice and practice and practice, you know, to memorize something and then take the test. So practice, practice, and, you know, it's like throwing it down their throat. Okay, memorize it. Okay, let's take the test real quick so you do really well. Okay, let me throw this at your face, and then here, take the test real fast so that I know you did really well. So that's not learning. That's, hey, let me let you memorize this, and then, hey, let's take the test right after you, like, memorized it. And then what happens? They take the test. They may not do well. And then what happens? They forget what they learned. And that's with gen ed students and special ed students. All right? So that is one of the biggest things. So anyway, the biggest thing with the biggest problem I had in this situation was the fact that now we're looking at a student who has 0 goals now in reading. And the teacher didn't have anything to say about it other than, oh, well, I work on things outside of, you know, the IEP. Now, mind you, do I believe the fact that maybe she works on things outside of the IEP? Yeah, I do. But I also know that I can't focus on that. I have to focus on what I know. And what I know is that a student who has an IEP and a teacher wants to take things outside of that IEP, that outside stuff, and this is something for you to focus on, is that outside stuff needs to be looked at as extracurricular activities. So let me explain that. I may sound weird, but it's true. All right, your kids have to go to school. They don't have to do extracurricular activities after school, okay? They have to do what's needed and appropriate in school, whether they're a gen ed child or they're a special ed child. I don't care. They have to go to school, all right? But do they have to be in football? Do they have to be in cheerleading? Do they have to be in soccer and all those different types of things after school? No. So that's what working on the IEP is outside of the IEP, okay? If you're going to do extra work, or teach something different that's outside of the IEP, that needs to be looked at as like an extracurricular. It's an option. It's something that is done possibly, all right? But what's in the IEP has to be done, and that's what I know as a parent that my child is learning or should be learning, all right? So if you're doing something outside of the IEP, then how do I know that that's effective? How do I know what it is? How do I know that it is something that's going to be effective? Hi, Tamara and Dana and Nadia and Irene. Hello, hello. Who else is on here? All right, we have Nilda on here. That's right. Post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. If you missed the beginning, you guys got to go back to the beginning. All right. We have Skylar, my daughter, have a total meltdown fit. All right, so you see that. And then you see where, you know, I'm showing you guys my cameras so you guys can see my 2 computers because I got the group over here, I got the page over here, so it's kind of crazy. So I'm like rocking back and forth. You think I just had a baby or something. But I'm trying to, like, you know. Hi, Mary. Hi, Dorothy. How are you? So it's just important to focus on what is fact, okay? I don't deviate from fact, all right? And the reason for that is, and what I told Mom was that I'm okay with you liking the teacher, all right? And I told the teacher, Mom likes you, you know? And I said that in IEP. But I don't have to like her. My job is to advocate for the student, not support the fact that Mom likes the teacher. I have to advocate for what is best, which is what I do, what's best, all right, what's needed and appropriate, guys, for the child, okay? So I have to focus on that. Mom can like the teacher, okay? So let's continue with green light, red light. I actually love this, you know. I joked with you guys, what was it? Early last week, and I said I used to love that game, red light, green light. So anyway, we ended last week on fluency. Let's hope I'm right. So I'll go back and watch the video. If I'm wrong, I will go and make up what I didn't do. All right. So now we're at language comprehension. So let me just review for those of you who may be catching this, but you need to go back and watch the other videos. All right. We talked about the simple view of reading, which is how the science of reading is shown, so to speak. Okay. So when I talk to you guys, I want to talk to you guys in a way in which you're going to understand versus talking in teacher talk. It's kind of like, throwing you into the hospital and you listening to a doctor talk about medical stuff and you're like, okay, can you just dummy this down for me, please? Because I have no idea what you're saying. All right. So I try to make it as simple as possible for you because I know it's already frustrating. So the simple view of reading looks at things like this. If you can decode and you can recognize words, multiplied by language comprehension equals reading comprehension. All right. So then we talked about word recognition. That is the first thing your child has to do in order to read. If they can't recognize words, they're never going to be able to fluently read. And what I mean by fluently read, that means that they can fluently read, understand what it is they're reading, which is what? Reading comprehension, okay? The whole goal of the whole reading process is to get to the comprehending part so that you're reading. All right. Because if your child has, word recognition, they have phonological awareness, they're able to, decode their words and they have fluent reading, but they can't comprehend, we got a problem. Something along the line didn't work. All right. They're either really not recognizing words. They're really having trouble possibly with vocabulary or spelling. All right. Or it could be where they are, struggling with speech, all right? Because speech and reading go hand in hand, all right? So if a child, has receptive and expressive language deficits, then they're going to have trouble reading, all right? So, you have to be able to get them both going at the same time. And what I mean by that is, I'll just take this example of the IEP today. I always talk about my IEPs, right? So, this student, had some language disruption and, I wouldn't necessarily call it a speech and language disorder, but she has a lot of need in the area of language and speech. And then she has comprehension concerns and some reading concerns, all right? And so because of that, I expressed that to the speech therapist and, reading, and they both agreed, hey, Kim, how are you? And they both agreed that, without one, you don't have the other, all right? And they support each other. They back to back each other, all right? They're like, two peas in a pod, all right? And so you have to have both in order to keep things going. You have to have reading comprehension in order to be really good at math and proficient in math. So if your child's really good at math, say hypothetically they're in a younger grade and they're really good at math, but they're not good at reading, I can promise you, unless their reading improves, they will come to a hard stop with their math. All right. Once they get into that 4th, 5th grade level math, all right, and they're struggling with reading, what's going to happen? Bam. Now they got math and reading problems, and you're really dealing with a lot of crap. All right. You're trying to get the intervention. You're trying to get the one-to-one. You're trying to get all of these things, and you're going to be fought all along the way. And it's more of a headache because then you have that fear and that gut feeling of, oh my God, I let this go on too long. And then your child's transitioning into middle school and you guys know the rest is history. So we don't want to get to that point. I know many of us are. I know many of my clients are. And that's where I've talked to them and said, hey, we got to get this in order like right now. And you got to be willing to go above and beyond to get that IEP on point and your child everything that what they need basically, and fight until you do. All right. And, I know a lot of people don't like that word fight versus advocate, but you're fighting. You are. And, you can call it advocating. I wish it was just advocating. I wish it was just this nice situation where you just all got along and you can agree to disagree, but, agreeing to disagree doesn't get your child what they need. All right. They can disagree. You can agree, and you still need to get your child what you need. So there's this fine line of figuring out how to get that put into play. I was happy about today where they're actually going to put Wilson reading into the child's IEP. That's excellent. All right. Now, there's other things I'm sure I will be thinking of in regards before the next meeting where we're going to put the IEP together. But the thing is they immediately, the assistant director of special ed actually said, yeah, we could put that in IEP. Like, nobody says that, guys. That was like it just blew my mind. Look, I can't even talk. It literally blew my mind. All right, look, Dana says fight of your life. It is. Because when it comes to our kids, what do? We will fight to the death for our kids, right? And we'll do whatever it takes to get them what they need. And, this mom actually said to me, she said, oh my gosh, now I'm like their worst nightmare. I said, that's a great thing. That is the best thing ever. You want to be your school's worst nightmare. Oh my God, so many people are going to hate me for saying this. You want to be your school's worst nightmare. All right, I'm going to be the advocate that said that. Go ahead, put it out there, share it all you want. Yes, it's true. Because guess what? Some parents think that, if I'm my child or my school's worst nightmare, then that's going to be taken out on my child. No. It's actually the opposite. They're going to be so in tune with whatever's going on with your child because they know they don't want you up their butt. Okay? So if you have to be that parent, oh my God, that's another, write that down, Erin. That is a good t-shirt. I'm that parent. And then on the back of the t-shirt, we're going to put, I rock the IEP. All right? So t-shirts are coming, guys. They're coming. All right. And I have some pretty sassy ones coming too. I'm excited about those. All right, so let's just get to this, all right? Because Sky's downstairs, my husband's downstairs. They're all waiting on me, and they always say every Friday night I hold them up because we go and get pizza, and that's our Friday night thing, and I'm the one who always, holds everybody up. Okay. All right, so we hit word recognition and the red light, green light. We did the phonics and the fluency, all right? So now we are at language comprehension, all right? So language comprehension, green light, all right? Green light is read aloud opportunities feature a variety of complex text, narrative, and expository texts above grade level, all right? To develop background knowledge and vocabulary in a variety of subject areas, all right? So red light is read aloud opportunities, emphasize stories or narrative text. Read aloud text is not sufficiently complex. So let me read that again. I want a shirt. So green flag is the read aloud opportunities, which the red flag says too. But the green flag says features a variety of complex texts with narrative and expository text above grade level. And that's to develop knowledge and vocabulary in a variety of subject areas. All right. So again, it's challenging your children. But remember, the science of reading is all about supporting the student. All right. Supporting the student and the word I was going to use before, it's called teacher-led modeling. All right. So that's what I was talking about when I was saying, when we show our kids how to do something like empty that dishwasher, and then they do it, and then we give them feedback and we have conversation, and then they go do it again and we give them feedback and we have conversation, and they learn how to do it. All right. Versus, hey, go memorize that. All right. So that is important. And that's one area of where things are lacking today in the educational system. All right. So the next green flag is opportunities are provided to make connections between a new word or concept and other known words or concepts relating to ideas to experiences. All right. So when you've experienced something, it's a lot easier to associate with it, to talk about it, to write about it, and to describe it. All right. Especially for children, but for us too. All right. So it's really important to talk about a variety of subject areas, but areas relating to ideas and things that have happened in our life. All right. So red flag is opportunities to bridge existing knowledge to new knowledge is not apparent in this instruction. All right. So bridging that gap of, hey, this is new, this is old, let's combine them together. All right. And that's not something that the red flag, just so you guys know, if you're new to listening to this and you got to go watch the others, the red flag is not aligned with the science of reading, and the green flag is aligned with the science of reading. All right. So just for vocab, narrative means text that relate and relates a series of events, and it can include fiction or nonfiction. All right. And I'm looking back and forth because I got group, page. All right. And then we have expository, which is text that provides factual information about a topic. And then we have background knowledge, which is a specific subset of knowledge needed to comprehend a particular situation, lesson, or text. All right. So let's move on to vocabulary. All right. So green flag is vocabulary instruction includes robust conversations. Again, that connection, that talk, that discussion with the child. All right. In order to support an understanding of literal and inferential comprehension of word knowledge within the text. All right. So remember, word knowledge is first and foremost in order to read. I have invited two of her specialists to her IEP on 21st. They are both coming. That way I can get what she needs because they use the skills with child and they work. Okay, awesome. All right. Okay, so if you have questions, just post them below. And if you're jumping on, post a 1 below if it's your first or third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. All right. So red flag is vocabulary instruction does not include opportunities for rich conversations, and worksheets or activity sheets are used instead. Do you remember at the beginning of COVID and they just like every week just shoved out, worksheets, and it totally didn't work for any of our kids? So green flag is an explicit instruction in vocabulary for tier 2 and 3 words is evident, as well as instruction in the context of text, most tier 1 words. Okay, so if you know what those are, I can get into that in another day. Tier 1, 2, and 3 words, but it's something you can look up as well. All right, so red flag is tier 2 words are not taught deeply. All right, you have to teach words. You have to teach the recognition of them. All right, and you have to practice them. All right. So green flag also is explicit instruction in morphology, and that's provided. All right, if you go watch one of the videos before, we talked about that, so you can understand that more in depth. Red flag is explicit instruction in morphology is not apparent. All right, so one has it and one doesn't. All right. Okay, so knowledge of language structures. All right, so knowledge of language structures. There's a clear scope and sequence. This is green flag, guys. There's a clear scope and sequence for teaching teaching conventions of print, grammar and syntax, sentence structure, and reading and writing. Let me say that again. There is a clear scope and sequence for teaching conventions of print, grammar and syntax, sentence structure, in reading and writing. All right, so red flag. There is not a clear scope and sequencing for teaching. Conventions of print, grammar, syntax are taught implicitly or opportunistically. All right, so that's important. Instruction, green flag. Instruction includes sufficient time for discussion, including teacher modeling. Teacher modeling is key in the science of reading. All right, teacher modeling. All right, not go memorize, but teacher modeling. All right. So including teacher modeling of conversational conventions, appropriate tone and rate, all right, and development of full ideas and complete sentences. So that's green flag. Red flag is instruction does not include sufficient opportunities for discussion. So that is a big thing to understand, all right? So things that are not aligned with the science of reading does not have a lot of modeling. And if it doesn't have modeling, what's happening? Your child is memorizing, all right? So red flag is instruction does not include the sufficient opportunities for discussion. Teacher modeling is not apparent, all right? So let's talk about verbal reasoning, all right? So green light is inferencing is explicitly taught within text, all right? Including opportunities for metacognition and use of appropriate and accurate background knowledge, all right? And then red flag is inferencing is not taught explicitly and may be based only, here's the key word, only on picture clues and not text. Picture walking. Okay, so let me get something that I can tear up. Hang on. All right. So I don't have any pictures. Actually, I do. All right, this is my kids when they were like really little. I'm not ripping it up. All right, that's Elena, Justin, and Skylar. Okay, so here is the thing. Just pretend I'm ripping this up, okay? So rip up pictures. I know, okay? I know that a lot of kids are visual. I'm visual. I have to see it. Ask any of my parents. They can talk to me all day. I'll say, okay, send it to me. Because I've got to see it. Because what you tell me at 9 a.m., I am not going to remember at 5 p.m. I may remember a piece of it, but unless I see it, it's not going to be ingrained in my brain. All right? So I've got to see it. And so it's so important to understand the difference there. All right? When you are teaching reading, when you are showing a picture, all right? What is this? This is a baby. All right? See? It's a baby. A baby. Do you see the baby? That's a baby. Do you see the baby? Who sees the baby? All right? So say baby. Baby. How many syllables? Baby. All right? They think it's 2 syllables. It's really not. It has a lot more than 2. But you see? See? Baby. All right? How many are there? 3 people. All right? So the thing is teaching a child that, hey, baby, baby. See the picture? That's a baby. A baby. All right? You cannot do that. That is teaching them that a little person is a baby. All right? Does that mean that they are going to recognize the word B-A-B-Y? Nope. Sure not. And, pictures and clues and prompts in regards to reading is a no-no. All right? Now, pictures in other areas, like when your children are younger and they're doing PECs. My daughter did PECs. PECs is great. I used to make the little stickies, put it on the wall, and, it would teach her how to brush her teeth. I had the whole scenario written out, all that kind of stuff. That's good, okay? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about when your child is learning to read and recognize words. We're not teaching them how to memorize a damn picture and what it is and what that word is based off that picture. All right? So how are you going to teach a child a word if you're showing them a picture? Okay, so if we had, and this is the best, look, I'm modeling this for you guys. All right, so if we have, all right, we have the word baby. All right, so we got the word baby here. All right? We got the word baby here. All right, and then this in the middle is a baby. All right, so how does one teach the other or the other teach the other? How does you recognizing that B-A-B-Y means baby by looking at a picture of a baby? You're not. And so that is what's happening though. Hey, let me give you a cue and a clue as to what this word is. And that's not going to work. All right. It's not going to happen. They're going to memorize. And what happens is it goes like this. This is what happens. All right. They go next to each other. And so that child memorizes, okay, that's baby. Well, yeah, it's right here, right in their face. So are they memorizing the picture or the word? Because a child who is a proficient reader, if both of these were put up side by side, okay, side by side, a child that is a proficient reader, their brain would process the word faster than the picture. Because that's how your brain works if you're taught how to read in the right way. All right? So hopefully that was a good example. All right. So moving on to literacy knowledge. So we have green flag, which is appropriate genres. How do you say that word? I don't know how to. Genre. I can't even read that word. I hate that word. Genre. How do you say it? How do y'all say it? Types and features are explicitly taught. All right. So genres, types, I hope I'm saying that right. And features are not explicitly taught. So of course, you have the area that's aligned with reading is, done and is explicitly taught. And then you have the area that is not aligned with reading is not explicitly taught. All right. So metacognition, what does that mean? It's thinking about thinking. All right. So metacognition, when your child has metacognition, it means they're thinking about thinking. All right. I'm thinking about the fact that I got to think about something else. All right. So that's important to understand. It's a hard one to understand, but it's something that we do all the time. Inference, using what you know and parts of text to comprehend what is not directly said in the text. All right. So it's inferencing what is happening possibly and being able to expand on that. It's what people do. Once they understand what they read, they're able to kind of generalize it, all right? And then be able to infer different things in regards to what they read, all right? And this sounds crazy, like maybe your child is in first grade or second grade or third grade, and you're like, oh my God, that's totally not where my child is, and I don't even know how my child's gonna get there. Well, that's where you guys gotta start. Because you have one hell of a head start than those of us whose children, like my own, is at Linda Mood Bell because she was failed for 6.5 years, So those of you who have the babies, all right, which is kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, you're kind of pushing it. All right. So if you got the young ones, shit, y'all, start now. Don't think that, oh, well, there's no way my child's getting to that point. Yeah, there totally is a way because your child is so young and they're absorbing all that information still. And they're in that perfect spot to learn. All right. Once they get 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, they're a little bit more stubborn, right? And they got a lot more personality. They're getting a little bit snotty, even though they got disabilities. We all know that our kids still have those typical tendencies. And, they do typical things like any other child. And, they exhibit their, I know Skylar, she's getting ready to, that's my first grade son. He's fluent, is high, but can't understand. Yeah, that's so many kids. I can't even tell you. And so it's just really important to, really get a grasp on this because you are going to be the ones going to teach them when you're in the IEP. No joke. All right. And it's not teachers' fault. They are not learning this in school. All right. The science of reading is not taught in school. Okay. I think possibly it's starting to be part of the curriculum. Don't mark my word on that. All right. But the thing is then they get out and they have no support. You have to have support to succeed. All right? Like you guys support me, whether you think you do or don't. You know, what I'm told at least is I love how you're so frank. I love how you're so forward. I like the fact that you just tell it how it is and, that sort of thing. But that's support. All right. That's giving someone. I always wanted to be who I am. I didn't want to be any other advocate, just that like they probably don't want to be me. I like to be frank and to the point and no bullshit. And, I don't sugarcoat it. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to be, friendly about it. It's not a friendly thing. It's not a not friendly, but it's not a friendly thing either. I just kind of keep it neutral. And I'm really good about keeping emotions away from that IEP meeting. All right. And that's what I help you guys do because you guys don't have to worry. And I take over and it's all good because you are learning. What am I doing? I'm modeling for you. I'm teaching you how to keep that emotion at bay and not let that, because what does it do? It festers and we get like really pissed off. I do it with my own child. So like, it festers and we get really pissed off when they say one thing. And guess what? That one thing is going to screw up your whole IEP because you got so pissed off in this one area that the rest is just trash because you like lost all train of thought. You can't think anymore. All right. Oh, I know. I've been through it. I've been to hell and back. And so I would get so flustered, so frustrated. I'd start to cry. I'd lose my shit. And guess what happened? The IEP went to crap because I got all worked up over this one area that I just lost it. And the rest was just crap. And then I get home and I'm really mad because the IEP isn't how I wanted it. I'm having to go back to the table. I'm frustrated that I got to go back to the table. I'm emailing them. They're not emailing me back. They're not admitting to what they said in the IEP meeting, which is how I learned how to record every single damn meeting, every single phone call. If I'm talking to you, it's recorded. Period. When it comes to school. All right? Because if you don't have it on recording, it never freaking happened. Ever. They will not come back and say, oh yeah, I said that. They won't. All right? And the ones that do, okay, just say you have a really good teacher and they admit it, right? And that's where directors of special ed and that's where the district comes into play. I'm doing this, guys, because I'm like focusing on both computers. I apologize. So guess what they say? Shut up. Stop talking. I know because they've told me and I've been on that end. Shut up. Stop talking. Do not offer information unless you're directly asked. And even if you're asked, pass them to me. Oh yeah. You didn't know that? Yeah. So if you ever start advocating really, really hard for your kids, notice how the teacher starts passing your stuff to the principal or the director or the whoever. All right. So if you start advocating, plan on that happening. Okay. Because that friendship that you think you have will be non-existent because there's really no friendship that you have. All right. They're only communicative. Is that the right word? Communicative, whatever. All right. When you're not a pain in their ass. If you're not a pain in your ass, they're going to talk to you. They're going to tell you things, all kinds of stuff. I was, really good friends with the director of special education until she completely lied to my face. And I had to make that decision, which sucked. It hurt, actually, because we were good friends. Like, we would go out. Her daughter came to my house. My daughter went to her house. It was crazy. And then everything happened with my daughter, and you have to make that decision. And, of course, my child came first. And that's a sucky feeling, realizing that how is it that you can say you're my friend, but then you just lie straight to my face. I have it on recording. How are you lying? And what it came down to, and this is what she said, she has 5 years left until she retires. Do you think her friendship with me is worth her retirement? Hell no. So you never know somebody's situation and how they'll stab you in the back in a heartbeat. So you have to record everything. And what I call cover your darn butt. Because if you want to win and get your child what's needed and appropriate, you gotta have the data. You gotta learn how to take really good data. Really good data. You gotta have so much data and think ahead of the game. That's what I teach in my course, is you gotta think so far ahead of the game that they can't keep up. And it's true. You have to be in that position. I'm not saying that it's fortunate, it's unfortunate. But the fact is what it is. Okay? I'm not saying that other people's situations aren't better than others. They definitely are. But I can tell you there's not one school system that just keeps it honest. It's complete and utter politics. And the more you understand that, and the more you understand the fact that if it comes down to you and your child, or their butt, or their job, what do you think's coming first? Okay? So, Janir, you know that word I can't talk about or use because I just can't say it right? Well, that means a type of text or literature that has a particular form and style. So poetry, fiction, nonfiction, that sort of thing. All right, so we're going to wrap it up at reading comprehension, and then Monday I'm going to talk about, and we're going to finish this, we're going to talk about writing, handwriting, spelling, composition, and we're going to talk about assessments, and we're going to talk about overall instructional design. All right, and then we're going to move on to the super duper areas of the science of reading. We're going to get into the heart and soul of the science of reading, but I wanted to go through this red flag, green flag with you so you have the concept of what the science of reading is. The more you understand about the science of reading, the more you're going to be able to advocate for your kids in the IEP meeting in regards to reading. All right? Now, don't go into an IEP meeting, okay? Here's mistakes that people make. Don't go into an IEP meeting because you heard me talk, all right? And you just go and off with it, okay? Now, I know many of you have said, oh my God, I've been listening to you, and it helped me, and I got this in the IEP meeting. Yeah, of course. But when it comes to the science of reading, I'm telling you, all right, yes, listen to me. Yes, look it up. But then come back, you can come back to me or whoever, and ask questions. Dig deeper. All right, just like you need to with your kids, you want to do this with the science of reading. Dig deeper, find out more, find out the intricacies of it, and find out what it is that needs to be laid on the table in regards to your child. So not only do you have to take what the science of reading is and the history of it and the success of it and the science and the research, but then you have to go and put it on top of your child and shower them with it, so that you now understand what part of that is going to pertain to them and their impact of disability. All right, so those of you who are hopping on now, post a 1 below if it's your first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie, and make sure to share this video, okay? So go on, share it. All right, so reading comprehension. So green light, that is in line with the science of reading, which is the foundation for reading comprehension, is built through rich reading out loud experiences before children are able to read independently. All right, so foundation for reading comprehension is built through rich read aloud experiences, okay, before children are able to read independently. All right, so red flag, all right, is the foundation for reading comprehension and emphasizes strategy instruction in text before children are able to read aloud independently, right? So green flag is emphasis on direct teaching, okay? And teaching comprehension strategies via gradual release of responsibility. So I do, we do, you do, all right? Using appropriate instructional text. Red flag emphasizes on independent reading, all right, and book choice, no evidence of direct teaching and comprehension strategies. Isn't that where we're lacking today? Is direct instruction. And direct instruction doesn't mean one-to-one. That's one-to-one is one-to-one. Start saying that. One-to-one is one-to-one. If you say direct instruction, that can mean a small group. Okay? Direct instruction is and can be one-to-one, but it is and can be a small group. One-to-one is just that, a one-to-one. Your child has a one-to-one for behavior, safety, behavior, and redirection, or you have a one-to-one in regards to direct instruction. So there's direct instruction given one-to-one. All right? But if it just says reading therapy, direct instruction, that is in a small group. I can guarantee you right now, it's going to be in a small group. Okay? Remember that. These are the words where they trick you in the IEP. Because unless you know to ask, hey, is direct instruction one-to-one or is that a small group? Are you going to put my child one-to-one or are you going to put my child in a small group? Now, unless you ask that question, they're going to put direct instruction. You're going to think about your child getting direct instruction and you're going to be dead wrong. And then you're going to be pissed off when you find out. All right. So green flag, emphasis on direct teaching. All right. The red flag was the emphasis on independent reading and book choices. All right. No evidence of direct instruction. Green flag, materials for comprehension instruction include sufficiently complex literacy and literary and informational text. Red flag is materials for comprehension instruction are predominantly leveled text and repetitive pattern text. Okay? So green flag is comprehension instruction includes sufficiently complex literary, whatever, y'all. I can't talk or read today. Literary, all right? I got it. And informational text. All right. And green flag is materials for comprehension instruction, and it's predominantly leveled text and repetitive pattern text. You hear that word? Repetitive. Let me teach you to repeat. Let me teach you to memorize. Let me teach you to look at the picture and then try to defer to the word. Those are the ways in which your child will fail. All right? Your child will win when they are modeled instruction. Any instruction, not just reading. Modeling is the way to go. When you show someone how to do it, then they're going to learn it a lot faster than if you're like, hey, read this book. Let me know what you figure out. Let me know what you understand. Here, read it. Go ahead, read it. Okay, now let me ask you a series of questions. Let's see how good your comprehension is. You know? Or, hey, memorize these. Here's a good one. Memorize these sight words. What are these sight words? Memorize them for me. Is memorizing sight words recognition of words or letters? No, it's not. All right? It's writing a word like cat, hat, bat, saw, her, him, whatever. All right? And then getting the definition possibly. All right? Learning how to spell it. All right? And these words, okay, and I'm going to end here. These words are then tested upon. All right? They have to spell them and whatnot. And your child has to learn so many sight words per grade. Kindergarten, first, second, third, whatever. All right? And if you ask, how many sight words does my child know? If your child has trouble in reading, they're going to have trouble with sight words. And CBC words are better than sight words. Same thing, but a little bit different. Sight words are part of reading if taught appropriately. Like I always go back. I go back and I say what? It's not what you're learning. It's what? How you're learning it. All right? It's not the what. It's the how. How are they teaching your child? How is your child learning how to read? How is your child learning words? How is your child learning vocabulary? What is it that the teacher is teaching your child that is going to help them become proficient readers? What is the methodology that they're using and curriculum that the schools are using with your child in reading? Because that's the problem. You know, I was talking about teachers and we didn't learn, how to do, structured literacy and science of reading. We didn't learn that. I don't care what teacher tells you they learned it. They didn't learn it in college. Okay? So if they took extra, classes and stuff like that, that's different. All right? But, one of the things to understand is it's really not their fault. And what I was talking about in reference to support is Teachers come into a school, okay? We walk into the school, we talk to the principal, we get hired, we do our paperwork, blah, 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 right? Okay, so then we're a teacher, all right? And then we have to what? We have to use the curriculum the school gives us. We don't have a choice of what curriculum we use, all right? They don't say, hey, use whatever reading curriculum you want to use. Whatever one you want to use, up to you. You can use whatever you want. I don't think so. We'd be fired in a heartbeat. All right? We got to use their curriculum, what they buy. You know, today I was in an IEP meeting and the speech therapist, I said, you know, all you did was this evaluation. Why'd you just do the self-5? I don't understand. I think it was the self-5. And she's like, well, that's all I had. I was like, what do you mean that's all you had? Well, we weren't provided anything. That's what we have. Well, go freaking buy something else. What do you want me to tell you? I mean, it wasn't needed for the child. It didn't show the whole picture. So if the assessment that you're doing didn't show the whole picture of the child, and you're saying that's all the district provided you, what do you want me to do with that? You're not providing the child faith? I mean, let's just sum that up. All right, if a school says that to you, you don't just step back and say, oh, okay, that's all they got. Let me just deal with it. No. You say, well, go buy the shit. Go buy the program that you need to buy so that you can assess my child in the right way. Okay, and then this is what happened. The director of special ed, assistant director, all right, she said, oh, we have that in the district. She just didn't have access to it. Come on now, people. I am not stupid. Okay? Because if the district has it, all therapists and teachers have access to it. They know what assessments they have. All right, districts have assessments. All right, that's why, I say make sure your district stays updated. All right, there's the Wyatt 4 out now. Find out if your child has the Wyatt. Find out which number it is. I guarantee you it'll be 2 or 3. I guarantee you it's probably not going to be 4. Why? Because they won't buy it. They don't spend money. But guess what? 4 has 5 new subtests that are huge, that will tell a huge difference in your child. I posted a picture, so I don't know if it's on the page or the group, in reference to the new Wyatt 4 and what it shows. And then this is what the district did, because we were going over an IEE, which was phenomenal, and an IEE that I actually used to explain to a lot of you different things about evaluations and how schools are doing just plain old shit evaluations. And this, psychologist had done the WISC. The WISC is simply an intelligence test. That's all it is. It's not going to tell you specifically where your child is struggling. Okay, so you do the WISC in combination with an academic assessment. So parents who don't know anything about assessments, which is totally normal, don't realize, oh, I'm going to give your child the WISC. You'll know their cognitive ability, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't tell you shit, all right? And it tells you literally their intellectual ability, all right, and where they are in that way. But it doesn't tell you specifics in academic areas or specific academic areas in which that can go and dive deeper, all right? So the KTEA is the best of the best, all right? That's number 1, all right? I always say, as you guys know, the KTEA mixed with the Wyatt 4 is a great substitute. Well, they kind of like go together, all right? Not substitute, wrong word. So you do the KTEA, okay? And there's 4 areas in which the KTEA does not cover. They're smaller areas, but there's 4 areas that the KTEA does not cover that the Wyatt does. So then you do the KTEA and you do the 4 areas in the Wyatt, the subtest, that the KTEA doesn't have. And guess what you got? A whole picture. But this therapist or psychologist, and she didn't like it when I called her out. Oh, she did not like that at all. I was like, I asked her, I said, we're looking at a 39-page IEE and her 3-page evaluation. I said, do you see the difference between these 2 evaluations? Well, I only did 1 assessment. I said, yeah, you did 1 horrible assessment. I said, not only did you do the WISC, that's an intelligence assessment, but I said on top of that, you didn't even write it or express it appropriately. I'm very picky about assessments, how you write goals, how the IEP should look, what the present level should state. I don't care about your child's strengths. I care about your child's weaknesses. If they had all strengths, they wouldn't have an IEP. I care about the weaknesses. I want to focus on the weaknesses. It's kind of like, you know, the opposite of life. You don't want to focus on somebody's negative. You want to focus on their positive, because we all have negative, right? But we all have positive too. All right. And we focus on the positive, you know, we're going to do a lot better in life than worry about somebody's negative, because we all got that, you know? So, but in the IEP stuff, all right. Hi, how are you, Cheryl? But in the IEP stuff, no, you focus on the negative. All right, the need, the deficit, the impact of disability. Why would you focus on the strength? That's not what an IEP is for. Now, their job is to always talk about strengths first, all right, and then they skip over or go real fast in the weaknesses. Bad idea. All right, I gotta go, guys. So enjoy, share this video. I will see you guys on Monday. We will finish up the red flag, green flag, and then we will get into the heart and soul and the meat and potatoes of the science of reading. Okay? So have a wonderful evening. Make sure you post below a 1 if you're an oldie but good, or not. Let me switch that around. Post a 1 if you're new, first through third time catching me live. Post a 2 below if you're an oldie but goodie. And make sure you post your questions below and I will answer them over the weekend. Okay? All right. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.